suited queen 6 or better. If you've got a jack high, you're going to make the big raise if you've got an unsuited jack 10 or a suited jack 8 or better. That's all there is to it.
All right.
Did you get that, Angela?
I probably need a cheat sheet, but let's play a few hands and maybe you'll help me out.
Well, fortunately, everything I say is all on my website, wizardofodds.com. I don't expect everyone to memorize that. Next, let's talk about when to make the medium raise, okay?
All right.
There's 3 situations where you should, according to my simple strategy. Number 1, if between those 5 cards there's a 2 pair or better. Number 2, you have a hidden pair. That means that the pair is composed of 1 card in your whole cards and 1 card in the flop. Do not make the medium raise if you have pocket deuces. Finally, number 3, make the medium raise if you have 4 to a flush, including a 10 or higher to that 4 to a flush in your whole cards. Got it? Just 3 things you need to remember.
I can remember those 3.
Okay, and if you forget, again, it's all on my website. Finally, let's talk about the small raise. There are just 2 situations where you should make that small raise. Number 1 is if, again, you have a hidden pair. Number 2, we're going to go by what I call my 21 outs rule. In baseball, you get 3 outs. In Ultimate Texas Hold'em, you get 21 outs. And 21 is an easy number to remember when it comes to gambling. Now, let me explain how to count your outs in Ultimate Texas Hold'em. Okay, here is a common situation that illustrates the 21 outs rule. Angela, you haven't raised yet. Your choice is either to fold or make the small raise. What we're going to do is we're going to count the number of dealer cards that are going to beat you. There are 3 kings left that will pair up the dealer that'll beat you, 3 9s, 3 8s, 3 5s, and 3 4s. 3 times 5 is 15. There's already 15 outs that'll beat you. Also, if the dealer has an ace in the hole, that's going to beat you as well. There are 4 aces left in the deck, so there are a total of 19 outs that are going to beat you. My 21 outs rule says that if 21 or more outs beat you, then you fold. In this case, you've only got 19 outs. You haven't struck out yet. Therefore, make that raise bet. And at this time, you can only make it for 1 time the ante. Okay? Let's see what happens. Looks like the dealer doesn't qualify. So go ahead and adjudicate that.
Ante pushes.
Mm-hmm.
You win and then push.
Very good. So again, the ante bet pushed because the dealer did not have at least a pair, and the raise bet paid even money, and the blind bet pushed because Angela did not have at least a straight.
Okay.
Now, another thing I should say is before I said I called this my 21 outs rule, I have to give proper credit to James Grosjean, who created an even more powerful strategy than what I'm trying to explain, which I highly recommend, and his strategy covers this 21 outs rule as well. So as far as I know, he was the first one to think about it, so give credit where credit is due. Again, all these strategies are on my website. Let's talk a little bit about the odds of the game. Under optimal strategy, which probably nobody on earth knows, the house advantage is 2.19%. Now, what do I mean by the house advantage, you might ask? The house advantage is the ratio of how much you can expect to lose to just the ante bet. For example, you were making an ante bet of 100 and a raise and a blind bet of 100. That means that following optimal strategy, you can expect to lose $2.19 a hand. which is not bad considering you're actually betting $200 at least, not to mention the raise that you might be making. Now, for comparing one game to another, I like to use a statistic called the element of risk. That is the ratio of how much you can expect to lose to all the money you bet, including the blind and the raise bet. There, that ratio is, under optimal strategy, 0.53%.
So what would the odds be under the simplified strategy that you were just showing me instead of this complicated one that you say nobody knows?
I'm glad you asked. As with any gambling strategy, if it's not a perfect strategy, it's going to increase the house advantage by a little bit. In this case, it doesn't by very much for such a simple strategy. The house edge under the simple strategy I just said is 2.65%, and the element of risk is 0.64%. So compared to other games, that is a very good value. 0.64%, that's less than 1% of all the money you can expect to bet is going to go to the dealer over the long run. That's a lower house advantage than, or excuse me, the lower element of risk than many common games like Baccarat and Blackjack under typical Blackjack rules.
I'm wondering, are there any side bets associated with this game?
Yes, of course. All new
Always.
games have at least one side bet, and Ultimate Texas Hold'em is no exception. The one side bet you always see is called the trips bet. This bet pays according to the poker value of your final hand, no matter what the dealer has. It only considers your own cards. The usual pay table for that bet goes 50 for a royal flush, 40 for a straight flush, 30 for a four of a kind, 8 for a full house, 7 for a flush, 4 for a straight, and 3 for a three of a kind. The house advantage under that pay table is 3.5%. While for a side bet that's not so bad, I recommend avoiding side bets in every game. Side bets, to put it in a nutshell, are sucker bets. Now, there are other side bets in this game as well. Lots of times you see a $1 progressive side bet on the player's final hand. That has an even higher house advantage. It's going to depend on exactly how much is in the progressive meter, but on average, that house advantage is probably going to be about 25%.
Oh.
If you see any other bet that I haven't discussed in this video, ignore it. It's a sucker bet. Okay?
All right, they should just call them sucker bets then instead of side bets.
They should.
They
That
should.
would be more truthful.
I think I really like this game, but here's the question. So after I get your simplified strategy perfect, what do I do to take my play to the next level? How do I learn the true optimal strategy?
Well, I admire your determination. Yeah, there are a couple strategies that I recommend that are even more powerful than what I just said, but of course they're a little more complicated. One of them is by James Grosjean. It's available on this strategy card here. You can purchase this at the website lasvegasadvisor.com. Another strategy that's free that you can get on the great gambling website discountgambling.net is called what I call the nut kicker strategy. The strategy is kind of hard to understand. It uses a lot of poker terminology, but it's a very strong strategy that comes very close to optimal. All right, let's summarize Ultimate Texas Hold'em. This game is a lot of fun. It's an exciting game. The strategy is quite interesting, and the element of risk is quite low, especially for a new casino game. Also, if you've never played it before, don't be afraid to try it for the first time. With new casino games like this one, a good dealer should be happy to explain the rules to you, be patient with you, walk you through it. Right, Lamone?
That's correct.
Okay, finally, let me say a word about a similar game called Heads Up Hold'em, which is actually this table that we're playing on right now. This game is the same as Ultimate Texas Hold'em, except with the big raise, you can only go up to 3 times your ante bet, not 4, but they have some bonuses if you get a high hand and the dealer beats you anyway, called a bad beat. This game is really popular in Washington State right now, and I think it's going to be coming to Las Vegas soon.